storm of the year. We'll probably live through it. Anyway, our format's slightly different this year. We've taken questions from the general public. They're in written form, and all of the counselors or would-be counselors have had a chance to peruse them for the last 20 or so hours. So however they decide to answer, that's up to them. We have three candidates that are out of town. Linda Duford got stuck in fog somewhere. Rena is gone to a conference, and Wendy had a predetermined vacation plan. So three of them won't be here. I have statements that I will read to you, the opening statements from both Rena and from Linda. Wendy did not submit one, but she did have an open house at the Friendship Center. Anyway, we will begin right away. So I'm going to introduce the candidates and start off. Kim Tybring, Keith Dowie. I was gonna say, you know what I was gonna say. Robert Bouchard, Karen Wall, Tom Lacusta, Karina Gagne, Brian Willows, and Jeff Groenwagen. Let's give them a big hand for just doing that. Okay, we will start it off today with the first question, and the first three counselors on the would-be counselors on this stand. Oh, sorry. Yeah. I should probably just go home, eh? Okay. Okay, starting with Kim, you can start with your first 3 minutes.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming out on a night like this. And I'd like to begin by thanking the Senior Society and Sandra for putting on this event. By way of an introduction, as Sandra was saying, I'm Kim Tybring, and I'm asking for your vote to elect me as one of the 8 town councilors here in Hay River for this year. I've been in Hay River more than 40 years. My family's here. My life is here. Over the 40 years, I've had the privilege of learning from some of the brightest, most decent, most ethical people that a person could hope to meet, all in Hay River. I have wide experience working in Hay River. I've been a fisherman, a laborer. I've worked more than a decade for the town of Hay River, and now I work for a labor union. Every new path, I've headed down that. Every new path since coming here, I've headed down that path at full speed. As a fisherman, I was active in the Fishermen's Federation. I was member of the Great Slave Lake Advisory Committee, one of the first fishing master captains. I was an activist on behalf of all Great Slave Lake fishermen and was on the executive of the Fishermen's Federation, including years as the president. As an employee of the town of Hay River, I went from a casual laborer and did everything basically till I had done a stint as an acting director of the Recreation and Community Services. I took every course offered. I was what they would call a rec facility master. And having done that, I became a 4th class operating engineer because I saw that there was a need. I learned and understood the role of government and how it functions, and I consulted on and managed budgets and personnel. I didn't always like that job, to be truthful, but I had a very wise director that sort of noticed that I was languishing, and he told me, he impressed upon me the importance of service for your community, and I never really looked back after that. Now I work for a labor union. Again, or maybe still as always, advocating for workers and the dignity of work in our community, recognizing the importance of the workers in the community. I really like our community. Through these years, I've been honest and accountable and willing to try new things, even if I wasn't so sure that they were great things. I am the guy in the room who wants to understand the rules before heading down a road of folly or waste. I will ask the hard questions and I will answer honestly the same. More controversially, I guess, I'm the guy who can tell a friend if I disagree and make a voice of reason explanation for why I think that way, and we stay friends. Oh, I'm still got a minute, right? No? I'm done? Okay.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you for being here. For those that I may not know, or Sandra, my name is Keith Dowie, and for the past 12 years, I've been a member of Town Council. In that time, I've served on many different boards and committees and with many different roles. I spent the last 3 years as Deputy Mayor, the last 6 as Chair of the Policy Committee, the last 9 as Liaison for the Recreation Committee, and I've served in many other committees and capacities over the years as well. Outside of council, I've been heavily active in the community as a volunteer, having served as an assistant and head coach with Hay River Minor Hockey, as president of the Hay River Lobster Fest Committee and the Hay River Curling Club, and as fundraising chair for the 2018 Arctic Winter Games in the past. I've been involved in too many other events and organizations to count, and will continue to be for many years to come. I've shared a number of my thoughts and ideas during this campaign on Facebook, and don't have time to condense all of that into a short 3-minute introduction, but I will say that my priorities for the next term, should I be elected, would be economic development, advancing the objectives of the Healthy Community Strategy, and long-term planning and sustainability. We have spent much of the last 3 years in response and recovery mode, and while there is still work to be done, the economic picture has changed, and we need to look further out. We are fighting for our rail line. Low water has caused northern communities to look for alternatives to MTS, with a heavy push for the Mackenzie Valley Highway. Our title as the hub is threatened. We need to fight to keep it, while at the same time doing what we can to try and encourage the diversification of our economy. Apart from the economy, we all know we've had our share of social issues. The Healthy Community Strategy, just recently passed by this council, will take steps to make us a healthier and happier community. It's important that the next council and future councils use that document when setting future plans. The asset management program approved by this council that is set to go live within the town's operations in the near future has the potential to save the town millions of dollars over the long term if implemented and used to its potential. It will be up to the council going forward to continue to support this critical program. And I look forward to discussing these topics more, and will do my best to answer any of your questions this evening. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Robert Bouchard, born and raised in Hay River. Went to the Purple School. After coming back from university, from getting a business degree in the early 90s, I worked for ITI, giving loans and grants to businesses and fishermen and other opportunities in the community. I've been self-employed now for 25 years. Took over my father's snowmobile business, doing some auctioneering, consulting, and also some security recently. I've also been involved in the community in different roles with rec hockey, the curling club, Chamber of Commerce, and I'm currently part of Polar Pond Hockey and the golf course executive. I served on council from 1984 to 2005. Decided to take a break for a little bit, and then in 2011 was elected as MLA for Hay River North. I'm currently on council and serve as emergency measures on the Emergency Measures Committee, Aboriginal Liaison, and Finance Committee. The Finance Committee, I kind of forced my way on there. They found it easier to put me on the committee than ask all the questions at council and lengthen out the meeting. So I was able to get on there. The next few years, we have some challenges. Obviously, we've experienced challenges the last couple of years with floods, fire evacuations, and we've forced ourselves to look at how well we've done some stuff and some of the challenges that were there. So obviously, we need to look at some of those improvements. One of the questions we received today was just, whether council should serve longer terms, and I commend everybody that's on the table right now. And I mean, we have a community of 3,000 people, and you have 11 people running. So I wouldn't think of limiting that. My experience is there. I think I contribute to just about every meeting of what we've done in the past, but also what we can look at different options. Still open-minded, still committed to involvement in the community, involvement in council, and being, entrenched in everything we do, the finances, Obviously, where the money's being spent, trying to limit taxes as much as we can. This council we have some challenges. You know, we always under pressure because of financial stuff obviously with COVID and inflation. We're definitely seeing pressures there. You know, we have CN Rail, MTS, housing issues, homelessness. We're always challenged with infrastructure, such as, you know, we need a new landfill, water treatment plant, town hall, always water and sewer, playgrounds, rec facilities, to name a few. In closing, I believe I still served the community for many years with my experience, but on Monday, I'd like your vote for Robert Bouchard. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome, everybody. I want to first thank Sandra and her team for making this happen. My name is Karen Wall, and although my marketing strategy was not as creative as Tom's, I am Karen for council. In the last 3 years, our council has faced many challenges: a contentious vote during COVID about vaccines, to an evacuation for the flood, a member of the council passing away, 2 fire evacuations, and an explosion. It was a very challenging time, to say the least. I think that each councillor can honestly say our progress was slower than any of us would have liked. Why am I running for council? Because I want to do more. I truly feel that our quality of life needs to be preserved and promoted, so here is my platform. First off, I think that we can agree that our economy needs to be supported. We must also keep the jobs we have in our town. How do we do that? Attracting new residents and getting people to stay with incentives. I am proof that we can attract people from the south. I left warmer temperatures and the ocean in the Maritimes to raise my family here. We should also capitalize on trying to attract remote workers. We have an amazing shoreline, almost untouched, a beautiful golf course, world-class ski trails, a quiet life, no traffic. Cities are becoming more and more expensive. We need to sell our little town. Next, promoting agriculture. Food security is a must in these times, and we need more jobs for our community. We have to be progressive. The complaint on council is constant about lack of funding, and this is not a new concept either. I do not think that we can rely solely on MACA, the federal government, or the territorial government. We need to do something else. We need to think outside the box to find other sources for funding. The rec department has already been creative in finding monies elsewhere with the participation. We need more of that. A significant increase in taxing federal and territorial houses that are empty, we could call that forced funding. There are many volunteer groups in our town, and we need to support them as much as we can. They are so important, and we really need to do our best to continue to support them. Also, promoting culture, music, arts, and entertainment. During COVID, we noticed how much social events where people are all together are vital to the health of our own community. And finally, keeping things that give us good lifestyle: the ski club, the golf club, the wharf, walking trails. These are the things that I will fight for on council if I'm elected. Vote for me.
Good evening. My name is Tom Lacusta. It's pretty hard talking after that. I'm a forester. Myself and my family moved to Hay River in 2003, and I became the manager of the Forest Resources Office for the GNWT here in town. My wife Donna is a nurse in town, now with home care, and we have 3 adult kids: Danielle, Matthew, and Adam. I've been involved in a lot of volunteer work around town for the last 20 years. Primarily, when I first got here, I joined Rotary, and I also got involved in minor hockey, and was involved with the library committee. I too was on the chamber for a short period of time. And for the last 10 years or so, I've been involved with the Hay River Museum Society. And I've always been interested in local issues, but hadn't seriously considered running for council until after I retired, which is 2 years ago. I'm 68. Then just a few weeks ago, I just decided that maybe the time is right. I'm at the age, I'm retired, I've got a little bit of time. I have no pressing issues with the town. I'm not running because there's something that really bothers me about things. I have had issues in the past, but right now I just don't have any real pressing things to. I just think I can contribute from my experience, knowledge, age, and the things that I've done, that I think I can contribute. I want to be part of a team, the council team. So that's why I'm running. I have a history of working with a diverse group of people. And I think this new council is going to be a pretty diverse, strong-willed group of people. And so I'm looking forward to the challenge of doing that. I think I'd make a good teammate for that kind of piece. However, when you're working with strong-minded people and trying to get together for common cause, it can get tricky. And again, I think I have the experience to help with that as well. Help glue people together as we move forward. One of the issues, I guess, that I'd like to bring up, just one, I suppose, is often we'll see people, when they see a problem, they will jump to a solution. So let's use the, I'm running out of time here, maybe. Okay, hurry up. All right, they'll jump from a problem to a solution without really assessing what the problem is. And if they dig down a little bit, they'll find the problem isn't exactly what they thought it is. So for example, if there's a housing shortage or a low vacancy rate here in town, people will jump to build more houses. And maybe that isn't necessarily the answer. Okay, well, I had more to say. Thank you very much.
Deep breath. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce myself for those of you who don't know me. My name is Karina Gagne, and I'm honored to be running for town council. I've been a resident of the North most of my life. I grew up in Norman Wells and later settled here in Hay River. I've developed a strong connection to our community, motivating me to contribute to its ongoing growth and well-being. I bring a wealth of experience in the public sector, where I've developed a solid understanding of governance, the importance of transparency and accountability within public institutions. My background in the mining industry has equipped me with experience in engaging with diverse populations, navigating northern travel, and fostering an appreciation for our environment and the resources it provides. In the earlier stages of my career, I worked in the private sector, where I learned the significance of small businesses in our community and gained a strong foundation in accounting, budgeting, and setting realistic expectations. Additionally, it may be important to share that I'm a residential school survivor, which provides me with a unique perspective on the challenges encountered by many individuals in our community. These challenges can significantly impact mental and emotional well-being, contribute to issues such as mental distress, depression, addictive behavior, substance misuse, stress, and suicidal tendencies. Like other residents in this town, I live with a disability. It does not define me, but it does present challenges not familiar to everyone. These challenges include traveling to specialists, accessing specific treatments, seeking alternative healthcare options, and obtaining the mental and emotional support that is often necessary for individuals with disabilities. And lastly, a parent of 5 children, all of whom were born and raised in Hay River, I have firsthand knowledge of the challenges associated with raising a family in this region, such as the cost of groceries, access to healthcare, education, and other essential needs. My vision for our town includes sustainable development that preserves our natural beauty while encouraging business growth, improving infrastructure, and ensuring we provide affordable housing options for our residents. I believe our seniors are the pillar of our community. They have worked hard to build the foundation we now stand on, yet many struggle with isolation, inadequate health care, and the rising cost of living, especially that rising cost of living. As your counselor, I will be a voice for all of us. I invite you to join me on this journey to create a brighter future for our town. I'm here to listen, understand, and collaborate with each of you. While I may not have all the answer, I believe by strengthening our connections, promoting inclusion, and providing essential resources, we can collectively enhance our community for everyone. Together, we can make a lasting impact. I humbly ask you for your support and your vote in the upcoming election.
Good evening. First, I want to take the opportunity to thank Sandra and the Senior Society for hosting this forum and for the members of the public who have come out tonight. My name is Brian Willows, and I have put my name forward to run for re-election to represent you and our community on Town Council. With your past support, I had the opportunity to serve the community as one of your councillors for the last 6 years. During that time, I have served as the chair of the Finance Committee, and during this last term, chair of the Healthy Communities Committee. The Healthy Communities Strategy was presented and accepted by Council last month, and I would encourage anyone interested in this strategy to visit the town website to review it. The Healthy Communities Strategy is the culmination of much work by many stakeholders, including Indigenous governments over the last year. There are a number of priorities facing the next council, and this strategy is one of the main reasons I have decided to run one more time for Town Council. I have a strong and demonstrated commitment to public service, and your support for me has been both a privilege and honor. Should I earn your vote one more time, I intend to continue my work for a better community focused on physical sustainability, a strong economy, and the well-being of our fellow Hay Riverites. There are 5 areas that I would like to focus on as priorities. Working in collaboration with my fellow councillors, they are fiscal sustainability while being mindful of tax implications, implementation of the Residential Development Grant Policy, implementation of the Healthy Communities Strategy 2024 to 2034, community support for Pine Point Mines, and the finalization of the electrical franchise. I look forward to your questions, and I want to thank you in advance for considering a vote for Brian Willows. Thank you.
Press and hold. Good evening. I'd also like to say thank you to Sandra and the Senior Society for hosting. I have served in the last 2 terms of council, and I would like to continue with that work. I wrote this up quickly before I came, but this is just sort of what was on my heart and my mind to share. In August of last year, I was in a motorcycle accident where I was thrown from a bike, bounced off a house, and went straight through a fence. I was unconscious for about 15 minutes. When I finally came to, I didn't know exactly where I was, how I got there, or how old I was. But what I did know was that my name was Jeff Groenewegen, and I was from Hay River Northwest Territories. Now, those might not seem like very good reasons to vote for me, but it gets better. Yeah. Over the course of the last 6 years, we've been on a tremendous trajectory here in Hay River, but everything is going to be okay. As a community, we have faced a number of unpredictable and unprecedented circumstances. You're going to hear about a number of these challenges from the candidates here tonight. A dump fire, a fire at the high rise that led to its closure and the displacement of over 100 residents, COVID, a historical flood, followed by a drought, 2 fire evacuations, and the destruction they brought. In the midst of that, record high inflation, record low water preventing sailings, record high energy costs, and the current loss of the rail. A shortage of housing, a shortage of labor, a deficit of capital to replace aging infrastructure, and a general underfunding from the GNWT. Despite all these challenges, there is still no other place that I would rather be. Despite all these obstacles, I still see opportunity everywhere I look in Hay River. We're still standing. Every problem has a solution, but it will require this next council and administration to be intuitive in some cases and pragmatic in others. Most of you know that I was born and raised here. The people that I care about most are right here in this community. I know how we once got things done in this town, and it's the same way that we're going to get them done today and in the future, with hard work, determination, and an unwavering commitment to see this community and its residents succeed. On October 21st, vote Jeff.
Thank you very much, all of you. Everybody has something really good to say, so let's give a round of applause for these people. I have a statement from both Linda Duford and Rena Squirrel. I did not receive one from Wendy Dumas, so I'm going to read you Rena's first. My name is Rena Squirrel. I am one of the candidates running for town council, and I'm asking for your support by voting for me in this year's election. I apologize for not being present at today's forum. Before deciding to run for town council, I committed to participate in the Arctic Council's ARENA program in Iqaluit, Nunavut. This program gathers renewable energy enthusiasts from all circumpolar countries to learn about how to enhance energy security in our Arctic communities. Due to time constraints, I will do my best to answer the questions the community members provided. If you would like me to elaborate on any of these points, you are more than welcome to contact me. Now, she's answered the questions, but she'll get to answer them in order. In just 1 second, and I'll get Linda Duford's. Take me a sec here. She's got a lot to say. Okay, here we go. Opening statement, candidate Linda Duford. Good evening, everyone, and please accept my apologies for not being here tonight. I would like to thank, she said Diane, but now she's thanking me for reading on her behalf. As some of you may know, I have spent most of my life in Hay River. My family moved here in 1979 from Fort Simpson, and my parents are buried here. I have a little music studio downtown and have taught music to most of the youth here. Things have been tough in the last few years, but I will not be leaving Hay River. This is my home. I have served in the past 2 terms as councillor and can honestly say it has been a wonderful experience and also a very steep learning opportunity the entire time. We have faced and overcome so many challenges in the past 6 years and learned so much. I feel I am ready to tackle another term and continue to work with the new council to make Hay River a desirable and better place to be. Although lots of good work has already been started, we know there is still much more yet to do. We have a whole new set of challenges to address, and finding solutions won't be easy. But with a good and diverse council working together, I believe it can be done. Respectfully, Linda Duford. Thank you. Now on to the questions. Finally. This question will be answered by Kim, Keith, and Robert. Question. To address the housing and shortages in Hay River, or if you were voted for council, would you support a plan to increase taxes on unused land? For example, this does say example, 10% a year over 10 years until the desired effect is reached. You have 1 minute, Kim.
Won't take a minute. I'm not exactly sure what they're talking about with unused lands. Lands that are privately owned by somebody have been purchased, and I'm sad to say I'm a conservative enough guy to know that that's an investment that they've made in our community. I don't think we should be discouraging investment in our community. I have no idea what the plans would be for unused lands, but if it's privately owned, I would never raise taxes on it. If you're referring to government-owned properties, I don't know if you can realistically get into a cycle of raising taxes on government. It's really recycled dollars, and maybe they should be encouraged to sell them if they're not using them. That's all I got, folks.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm not totally sure which unused lands are being referred to in the question, but one of the first posts I made on Facebook when this campaign was announced was that I had indicated my support for increasing taxes on vacant or undeveloped land. A tax like that exists already in Fort Smith and other communities, and I think it would go a long way to either encourage development on those properties or encourage the owners to sell those properties to somebody that would be more willing to develop them. I think, in some scenarios, we're talking, in a lot of cases, this unused land is tied up in the government. And if the government is going to continue to underfund us the way that they do every year, then we can find some other ways to get our money from the government. Thank you.
Thank you, Keith.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, when I seen the question, I kind of thought of it as a carrot and stick type thing. I know over the years we've talked about vacant lots that people own, but I don't really think we have a big companies coming in and buying a bunch of lots and holding on to them for them to appreciate and then later sell. I think it's a lot of individuals that are deciding to, at some point, pay for the land and then build on them. And I think that's the stick, is the tax. If we're going to tax them heavier because they have an empty lot, I think the carrot that we're putting out right now is the housing grants and stuff like that. If you build a new house, we have some grants from the federal government. So I think we encourage people to build here as opposed to beat them up for trying to invest in the community and pay off their lot and then later on build a property when they have time or they have the financial means. We're seeing that right now. There's a couple empty lots that are being built on as we speak. So eventually somebody's going to have the potential to and the financial burden or ability to build on those communities. So I don't, or those properties. So I don't think taxing them right off the hop is something I'd be supportive of at this time.
Question 2 goes to Karen, Tom, Karina. If voted on council to help alleviate the shortage of living space in Hay River, would you support a construction camp on the property where the high rise is located? The high rise owner's original plan was to renovate the bottom floors, but the town denied a work camp on their own property, which ended any further progress. Start with Karen.
Thank you, Sandra. I think there's a problem to begin with this question itself. The question assumes that the only reason why construction did not start at the high rise was because we denied the request, which is not the truth. The council offered another solution to this, a camp spot in the industrial area. Some of the councillors, me being one of them, did not want to risk having any more social issues in the middle of our town. You get a camp set up in the middle of our town and it could cause a lot more problems than we're asking for. So I would not be in, and there's a lot of things about this issue that's been misconstrued. Thank you.
Yeah, it is kind of a funny question. I think we have a situation with the high rise that needs to be fixed. And the longer it sits, the harder a problem it becomes. At the same time, we do have a housing issue in the community. And I'm not on council, but it sounds like what's been happening on council and with the developers is something that we need to unravel and figure out what's going on and what are some of the solutions, the pathways going forward. However, that being said, I think if the developer or the person that bought it is looking at opening up housing space in there and has asked for a construction camp on site for a certain period of time, I wouldn't necessarily say no to that. But I know so little, and it's a question that you really need more details to really answer.
When I received the question, I thought it was a difficult question to answer. As not being a former council member, I was appreciating more information in regarding the denial of the work camp. Were there implications from WSCC, other regulations that influence the decision? And like Karen has said, there are other things that were taken into play. However, my gut tells me I would support something that in order to revitalize the downtown core and to provide more housing, rather than to be put in a position where the town has to absorb the cost of demolishing the building. Thank you.
Question 3, if voted on council, are you prepared to question the town administration on proposed budgets and encourage mindful spending? We start with this, Brian Willows, who's on the finance committee. That'll help. Let's start with Brian.
Thank you, Sandra. Yeah, for the last 2 terms, I've been chair of the finance committee, and I can say along with the committee, who sits on the committee is the mayor, Robert, so he doesn't ask questions at council, and Linda Duford. So, I mean, we work diligently at all times to be mindful of the spending and the implications they have on taxes. And I only have a minute, so that's my short answer to that. But I think what's worth noting is the financial stresses and difficulties that we will be facing over the next couple of years. If it wasn't for the administration team that goes out and finds us pots of dollars, I mean, in the year 2022, they found a total of $19 million. Without that kind of funding, there is no way that we can continue our 10-year capital plan. So it is imperative that we keep going and looking for those pots, and that's through the direction of your council and through the work of the administration. In 2023, although it's unaudited and we still don't have the amounts, but I can tell you at this point, we were able to access over $10 million. So I think we are being very mindful of the money, and we're being very mindful that the money that we do spend is reflective in taxes. Thank you.
Yeah, over budget and over time, eh? Yeah, this is what I can tell you. We've talked about financial constraints already in my opening statement. In the last 6 years, I have voted in favor of 3 of the budgets, and I have voted against 3 of them. Now, I can tell you, in all of those instances, we were provided with what I would say was a very thorough plan by our administration. And I appreciate the effort that has gone into them by the administration and by the councillors that sit on the committee. My reason for not supporting them in instances where I voted against was for the simple fact that there are many members of our community who can't afford more increases. We can't spend ourselves rich, but we do need to make sensible investments for our future and for so much of our infrastructure that needs to be replaced. Thank you.
I'll now read Rena Squirrel comes in now. She says, of course, I will discuss the town administration proposed budget, encourage mindful spending. This is an essential role as a councillor to ensure we are able to afford community well-being initiatives. Thank you, Rena. The next question. Would you support the relaxation of bylaws enable new homes to be made out of prefab or modular units? I'm not 100% sure what this question means, but I do have an answer from Linda Duford, and I believe it was quite simple. She said, yes, I would support a relaxation of bylaws to allow for more prefab homes. Given the shortage of trades and skyrocketing cost of labor and materials, I feel this is a direction we as a town need to do to spur housing growth. So that's from Linda. Kim, you're the next to answer that one.
The housing one. Okay, yeah, I'm not so much of the mind that relaxing of bylaws to enable homes to be made up of prefab units. I do think that construction has changed a lot over the years. And I do think that we should create bylaws that allows flexible use of the land for construction of homes. There's a lot of communities that are doing tiny homes for people that we have no real bylaw to do. There's a lot of new construction and stuff that are new modulars that are far beyond what was created at the time. So I don't think it's about relaxing so much as becoming flexible to enable people to invest in the community. That's me.
Keith?
Thank you. Yeah, well, fortunately, every development area in town currently has allowances for pre-built or modular homes. All of the proposed developments have allowances within those developments. So I wouldn't have to be in that position as a councillor, nor would anybody. If we're referring to specific individual lots, they'd have to be looked at on a case-by-case basis. But within our development and building bylaws that we did a pretty thorough run through on, we made changes to those to allow smaller homes. We're allowing things like granny suites and things like that now. So our development bylaw has discretionary usage allowances written into them for different zoning classes. So hopefully that kind of clears things up, but yeah, we wouldn't likely need to have that conversation.
Okay, this question is, it's a quick answer question. And it's to all counselors. And it's not something that you should elaborate on too long, but you can have 1 minute. Would you vote yes or no to capping the seniors' home tax exemption? And if yes, what is the amount you would cap it to? Start with Kim.
I would vote no to that. I believe that the seniors have a right to be here, and it would be wrong to cap anything after a lifetime of living here. And I'm always interested in investment in the community. So that's where I'm at.
Thank you. Yeah, I can say quite openly that for the past 12 years, anytime that conversation's come up about any changes to the seniors tax exemption, I've spoken out against it. My opinion hasn't changed. That said, and full disclosure, just to be honest here, it cost the town about $320,000 annually. The GNWT covers half the cost, so it's about $640,000. But with the GNWT covering half of that cost, if the GNWT decides someday that they are no longer going to do that, the town may be forced to take a look at that, whether we want to or not. And what that would mean in terms of a cap or just taking the loss at 100% instead of 50%, that would be a conversation that would have to happen at that time. And, not saying that that is what's happening, but there have been higher level conversations in the government about it.
Yeah, I think we've had some discussions. Some councillors on our current council don't want to weren't very interested in discussing it. I think I'm in favor of setting a cap at 5,000, which we know our average taxpayer right now is about $3,300. So well above the average. And basically it comes from a Yellowknife perspective. I think they capped it at 5,000. That's, and I know it's a growing population, but like he said, there's large costs to it, to the community. You know, we haven't gone that direction yet. I think the GNWT might be the first one to go there, but yeah, that's basically, I would look at a $5,000 cap, which would take over majority of people. So.
Karen?
My first thinking is not to have a cap at all. My platform was already to keep people here. It's already expensive enough for our seniors on a fixed income to live in the north. We do not have to make life harder on the or lose our seniors either. We need to have incentives for people to stay in Hay River, and I think that this is a good incentive. I would vote no.
Yeah, thanks, Keith, for telling me how much it costs. So $320,000, that's about 3 employees. I don't know how many employees the town has, but keeping seniors here and in their homes for $300,000 seems to be a pretty cheap price. So absolutely not.
Karina?
I would vote no. I believe the seniors have earned this. It would be difficult to determine what the cap would be, but my preference would be to create a community that seniors would want to remain in through their retirement.
Brian?
Thank you. I'm not in favor of taxing the seniors at this point in time. I'm not in favor of thresholds. I'm not in favor of caps. We all know what the cost of living in here. These programs were originally started to encourage seniors to retire in the north and to retire in our community. And I don't believe in making things any more difficult. That said, this issue has come up repeatedly at every budget cycle in the last 6 years that I have been chair. This council that is now about to come to its end has decided that we would not do that. I can also say that it will not be as part of the 25-26 budget. However, there is a survey out right now, and one of the questions in the survey that will inform administration in designing the budget in 26, 27, 28, 29 is that very question. I would encourage seniors to answer the question on the survey. And if you don't have it on your computer, and I talked to Sandra about this, as possibly getting paper copies so that seniors can have their voices heard. Because this issue will not go away. And it's not from any sense of bad-mindedness towards seniors at all. What it is exactly what Keith said. It's $320,000, 225 households. It is a demographic that is growing every year. Those costs are only going to increase. So it is important that the seniors in this community, which range somewhere between 550 and 600 people, please fill out the survey. Thank you.
Jeff?
Thanks, Sandra. Yeah, at face value, I'm not interested in putting a cap on it at this time. It's a complex issue. I've been a licensed realtor for 20 years in the north, and one of the challenges we see as families drive down the road on a regular basis who would like to come to Hay River but cannot find suitable housing here. And I think that really the solution that we need to look at are more options for senior housing. It's difficult. It's difficult to see people in a situation where it might be one person living in a 5-bedroom, 2-bathroom house, right? Where they do not have a better option. But to the specific question, no, I'm not in favor of capping it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. This is Rena. She says, I do not have enough information on it, whether I would cap the seniors' home tax exemption. I can say that our elders, we got old now, need to be supported and respected. And 1 second, I'll pull up the Duford says. But that's Linda's take on it. Let's move on to the next question. And who are we going to? Robert, I guess. Would you agree to reduce the elected council to 6 members plus a mayor? And we'll start this one with Robert.
Yeah, I know this has come up a few years ago. They looked at the process, and I don't support that. I think 8 is a good number. Gives us a good broad perspective in the community. There's more people that are out there. We all have circle of friends and family and people that we deal with on a daily basis that give us their opinions, their concerns. And if you reduce that from 8 to 6, it just minimizes the, council the community. And then typically you don't have to deal with any issues with making a quorum. In the last couple councils, whether it's for passing of people or somebody moving out of town, we've had somebody step down. So you have the option to have a by-election or appoint somebody or just leave it empty. So we've left them empty because we have a 7-person plus a mayor team. So it gives you a little bit more flexibility, I think, with the 8-person. And I don't think the costs for what council that is that much different.
I think generally speaking, it's better to have more councillors and more voices, so it's less likely for a debate to be one-sided, for sure. More councillors give a broader view of the problems we tackle on council. Then we are able to more likely to make better decisions for the community. And I know in our particular council this year, we had a member of council that passed away, so it was a difficult decision, and we had decided to stay with the 7. Not all the councillors were in agreement. We did question it, but I think it was the right decision in the end. Thank you.
Tom?
Unless there's a real, nobody explained why 6 would be better than 8, then I don't see a reason to change what is in place right now. So I'd say 8.
Okay. Would you support a motion to limit council to 2 consecutive terms, taking it break? Karina?
I would not support this. We're a democratic society. The councillors are voted in. I don't see what the advantage is to not allow the people with experience and that are good in their roles to continue on and support our town. So, no.
Brian?
Thank you. No, when I read the question, I was trying to understand what the problem was that we're trying to solve. I mean, in my experience, having people with experience is a good thing. And so I would not support that. Thank you.
Jeff?
I'm of making any changes. Our democratic process. I believe needs a mixture of continuity, and I believe that we'll come up with that one way or another, but we'll do.
This question, it's going to be a bit divisive. It was sent in specifically to the members on the people at the table that are belong to unions or shop stewards or union are represented by a union. And the question is, would you recuse yourself during union negotiations and unionized personnel discussions? And this is directed at Kim Tybring, Karen, Karina, and Jeff. So you can start, Kim.
Okay, good question. It's a little more complicated than 1 minute. But I do work for a union. It happens to be a union that has a contract with the town of Hay River. That being said, I am an employee, so I have no direct dealings with the town or with town council. I certainly have nothing to do with bargaining or anything like that. It's been something that I was concerned about. And so not necessarily having to, but not feeling as if I would like to make an argument with somebody about it. I have spoken to my boss. They've modified my portfolio, which used to include the town of Hay River as one of the bargaining units that I would deal with. And to avoid any impression of conflict of interest, that portfolio has been removed from my list of duties. The second sort of part to that is council has, by law, with the Villages and Towns Act, one employee. That employee that reports to council is not a union employee. It's a bargaining unit. It's a non-bargaining unit person. It's the SAO. All administration is done by the SAO, and I would not recuse myself from participating in conversations about administration, or there'd really be very little point to being on council.
Karen?
Yeah, I am not in a management role in my union. I am not in a bargaining unit. And so I would not recuse myself for any discussion about administration. Thank you.
Corinne?
It was not really clear to me as my position, in my position as a unionized GNWT employee, how it would be a conflict to council. However, if there were to be, I'd have no problem recusing myself accordingly, but I can't see how that would happen. Thank you.
Jeff?
Yes, I would recuse myself in any such situation. I'm the regional vice president for the UNW, so I represent all UNW workers in Yellowknife at the executive board. This arrangement is reciprocal. I am not involved in the bargaining unit with the town, and likewise, I would have to recuse myself from any town business with respect to bargaining. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next question. In a floundering local economy, what role do you see for council in encouraging economic development? The first answer should be, I'm losing my paper here. Where are we at? Rena, just 1 second. The role of council should have to encourage economic development and to support local people and businesses. I think the council should also consider innovative solutions to strengthen our economy. Examples of this can be seen in investing in renewable energy to enhance our local energy security and create jobs, or develop our agricultural sector to enhance our local food security and also create jobs. And that's from Rena, and I'll give you what Linda has to say about it. Council has to do everything possible to support growth in a floundering economy. We have to be open, look outside the box for solutions, work with our local partners, and be receptive to innovative thinking. Council has to be 100% invested in finding solutions and, more importantly, working to implement them. And that's from Linda Duford. Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry, Kim, you get that question too. Good thing I have you.
Perfect. I take a little bit different point of view. I feel as if the municipal government has a responsibility to provide a stable platform to encourage people to invest in the community. I don't think that the municipal government itself should be doing the development. I think that they should be giving a great place to live. I think they should be giving a stable platform where people are encouraged to invest, where people want to move and raise their families. And I think that that has to be the approach to developing the economy, because if you think that you're going to be able to spend tax dollars to do it, you're on a bit of a fool's errand, in my opinion. Don't want to call anybody a fool, but that's where I'm at.
Thank you very much. Question 10, this will go to Keith, Robert, and Karen. CNN has applied to close the railroad from Enterprise to Hay River. I'm going to put a little aside in here. This is a 3-year process that, from what I understand, it's not in here. This could be the final nail on the coffin for MTS. What as a town can we do to stop this? And we'll start with Keith.
I've been called worse than that even today, Sandra. The town's very aware of the situation with CN and along with the GNWT and a lobbying association of other railway communities that we're partnered up with. We're already using a lot of tools that are at our disposal to fight this. As Sandra said, the process that CN has entered is a 3-year long process that they're going to have to go through. We plan to fight that all the way. Unfortunately, a lot of this is tied up in legal, and there's a bunch of lawyering happening right now, so I can't get into too much detail on it, but the town is very aware of it, and it's the next council, whoever that may be, is also going to be aware of the situation. And if there comes a point where there needs to be public engagement, rest assured you'll be counted on.
Yeah, I know it's a concern for everybody, especially this past council and going forward, the future council. CN's a big corporation. They've made some decisions. They've given us copycat, and we've gone to NWT Association Municipalities, gotten a similar answer. Basically, their current customers are pleased with the service to Enterprise. But I mean, yeah, we've been fighting with the GNWT and are working with the GNWT to work on CN to get this repair done and get the old line open. Obviously, MTS is concerned with not having a rail. Pine Point Mine is concerned without having a rail. So we've reached out to a rail advocacy association that has been effective in some areas of the community, of the country, including Churchill and stuff. So we want to fight this fight and basically convince them that it's worth the investment. Hopefully the GNWT and the federal government, I think some of it's a play from CN to get the federal government to pay for some of it. But yeah, it's definitely an issue that's going to come forward in the next 3 years for us to fight.
My fellow councillors have said pretty much everything there is to say. The council's already been trying to partner up with Indigenous groups and writing letters and trying to really fight this at the grassroots. I know the CN Rail is a private business and we cannot tell them how to run their business. That's the heart of the matter. But I know everybody on the next council is going to fight tooth and nail not to lose the CN Rail. Thank you.
We're almost to the end. The next question goes to Tom, Karina, and Brian. There was a 1.6 million Government of Canada initiative to mitigate flooding in the West Channel. Says, was this money spent there or has it been spent in other places such as Port Landing? this is from a West Channel person that really wants to know. So
Okay.
Tom, you're the first one, and I guess you wouldn't even be able to, Corrine don't have any
Yeah,
idea.
I have no
So
idea.
why don't we just move on to let Brian deal with that, and then Brian and Jeff can answer this.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks, Sandra. And I appreciate the question, notwithstanding the fact that it's misconstrued and misinformed. The West Point First Nations and the town of Hay River went together to look for funding from the federal government for this money. And it's not $1.6 million. I think it was closer to 1.2, neither here nor there. But the fact of the matter is all that money is going to be spent on mitigation in West Point. The first phase of that Alaska road mitigation was completed last week. The second phase of that mitigation will be completed in 2025. So the total amount of that funding is going to that project. The monies that was from Port Landing, if you'll recall, I was talking about some of the funding that we were able to get from other levels of government. That funding for Port Landing came from a separate pot of money altogether that we had applied for. So I like the question, I appreciate it, and it's a demonstration how the town of Hay River going forward is trying to work with our 3 Indigenous governments here in the community to find funding to be able to access to complete our capital project plan over the next number of years. So thank you for that question.
Thank you very much. Jeff, do you want to elaborate on that one?
Yeah, sure, Sandra, I can give a little bit, just a little bit more information there. It's mostly what Brian has said, and I think I understand what the question was getting at. It's a little bit of a misrepresentation, but the response is the town received 1.2 million from Canada through the Disaster Mitigation and Adaptation Fund for the West Channel Shoreline Protection Project. All these funds have been and will continue to be used to support that project. The fund is heavily regulated with stringent reporting required to Canada. No dollars have gone to other projects such as Port Landing enhancements. Approximately 500,000 has been spent this year on the first phase of the project, which is to repair and enhance, including increasing the elevations of the Alaska Road portion of the berm. Subsequent phases will enhance the other portions of the berm scheduled for 2025. Port Landing Marina has been enhanced in recent years using separate federal and territorial funds. And that answer is not from me, it's from Glenn. So there you go. But thank you.
Thank you very much. We have one question that came in later today, and I've included it, and I will ask, we'll start with Kim. And it says, Sandra, I can't make the forum tonight, but I would like to ask a question. Will you take it in writing? My question is about the state of the roads in Old Town. Would new councillors see this as a need, and what would they do about it? So we're asking the new councillors, so that would be, start with Kim.
Well, I guess you asked the right guy. I'm an Old Town guy. I live on the same street as Beatrice, so I 100% think this should be a priority. Of course, road maintenance is a hard question. It's up to Public Works. I do think that they try their best. I have noticed, living on the same street as Beatrice, I've never thought maybe it was because of her, but the streets in the winter do sometime, because they're gravel and they kind of fall apart. And I do think it would be a priority. I'm not saying that if I was elected, I can fix all streets, because yeah, I'd have to be my American friend with the exaggerations to promise such things. But obviously it'd be a priority. It's a priority, and luckily for Beatrice, if I'm elected, a guy on her street would be at least in town council asking the questions about it.
I suppose you're going to kiss some babies too, right?
I will. Yeah, I'm a grandfather. That's a regular thing.
Okay.
Thank you.
Tom?
I was watching a movie about Robert McNamara, who was the Secretary of Defense for the Kennedy and Johnson administrations in the United States. And in that biography, he said, a good politician doesn't answer the question that was asked. They answer the question they would have liked to have been asked. And in this case, that's what I'm going to do. So this town has a problem with the periphery of the town. And what happens in Old Town, and whether there's enough gravel on the roads, and what happens out at Paradise, and what happens in other parts that are outside of the core of this town. I think the town council needs to spend a little bit more energy on those things. I'm not sure what the answers are, but I would certainly agree that more gravel is required in Old Town on those roads. I've been driving them. I've been doing Meals on Wheels, and those roads are pretty muddy when it rains or with snow and that kind of thing. And I think it's something the town should spend more attention to. That's it.
Karina?
Well, another Old Towner. Of course, as Kim and Tom said, can't make promises you can't keep, but I would certainly think that safety is a priority for everybody in town. And the roads are bad in the Old Town and in the outer areas, as Tom had said. So certainly it's something worth addressing, and it's something that we would like better to be looked at. I live on the highway part, so highways takes care of my road, but I still have to go check my mail on the other part, so I get it.
Although I'll read you, because I asked Councillor Duford and she gave me an answer, so I'm going to read her answer and Rena's. The state of roads in Old Town need to be addressed, and funds for proper repairs and maintenance need to be allocated in the next budget. This is an area of concern and needs to be prioritized. And that's from Linda, and Rena didn't respond to that one because it was a late one. So we have reached, it is just approximately 8:10. So we have 10 minutes, 10 minutes right now for anybody that wants to come up. I think you wanted to ask a question.
Just a quick question.
Yeah.
Regarding housing.
Do you want to?
So my understanding is an 800 square foot limit, and you're not allowed to build anything smaller than that in town. Is that true?
No.
Okay. So, yeah, I think that's an old rule. But now with modern day, with modern housing, mini homes and all that stuff, why can't we change those rules so that it reflect, you know, some single person who doesn't want a 1,200 square foot house? Maybe they might live in a 750 square foot house and be quite happy. Can we not change the rules to accommodate more people to, you know, so people can live the way they want to? One question. Second question is,
Wait.
sorry, just very quick.
Well, let him answer. Who do you want to answer?
Oh, yeah, sure.
You get 3.
Well, I don't care. One of you answer.
Okay, Robert wants to answer.
Yeah, thanks for the question, Jim. Yeah, we did go through a comprehensive review of our bylaws, and it's been added to these granny suites where you have a property that's fairly large and you have a house on it already. You can add a smaller unit to it. Like I've been trying to advocate for it. There's a bunch of people in town that don't know about it, but a lot of those bylaws have been changed where you can change that. But tiny homes, we haven't created any lots that are tiny yet. When we were going through the review, the people from Whitehorse, the consulting company, said they had some, but it was, again, you got to deal with water services if you got multiple units on one property. But there's just some little minor things that need to be worked on if you're going to do that. The tiny homes are always difficult, but we've made concessions for them to go into backyards. You know, like I looked at Mrs. Boyer's property where it's a nice big property in the back. That person could add another building in the back that, you know, whether it's somebody they know or in just a rental unit, they can build.
Understood. But I mean, say, tiny homes, I guess is the word I was looking for originally. I got big lots in the Old Town, there's 100 by 150. If I want to put a 750 or 700 square foot on it, must stop me, really, except for your you know, for your body. So I don't care. I don't want to put 3 houses on my house. I just want to put one little place, you know.
Yeah, you can do
The second, that's about the housing. Second question is, again, I might be flogging a dead horse here, but the water subsidy in the old town, gone, right? What did the new town lose? You know, I mean, I'm senior, 16. You're taking stuff away. You want us to stay here? Where's our water subsidy? I mean, it's only
I don't know that I want to take that one.
I mean, we just, and Dowie might be in conflict here because he's a water guy, but I think some of the, just because the expenses of delivering water have gone up, we're actually subsidizing the cost of water delivery right now. Truck water is not being paid by the residents that have truck water. The town of Hay River is actually subsidizing some of the costs, just because the cost of fuel gone up, cost of equipment's gone up. So I mean, yeah, we took some of the subsidies away because of that. But yeah, and it's got wrapped into the whole bunch of other stuff, but we are subsidizing truck water services right now.
Thank you very much. You're okay. Now we're going to do our final, each candidate, starting with Jeffrey. You can do your summation. Did I tell you guys 1 minute or 2 minutes? I think 1 minute. I said 2? Okay, Jeff, you got 2 minutes, quick.
Thanks, Sandra. Yeah, as I'd spoken about earlier, there's many challenges, but there's also many opportunities. One of the ones that was mentioned by another candidate here tonight was the residential development grant. And this is federal money that has been provided to the municipality to develop the potential for more housing on existing lots. For multi-residential and also for adding on to single family dwellings. And so we've been hard at work over the last 3 years to do as much as we can to mitigate many of the challenges that we have seen. But those challenges, they are very real. I said that for me, even being someone who was born and raised here, everywhere that I look, I see opportunity. If I could clone myself, there would be an endless amount of work to be done. But that to me represents an opportunity. We had a way of getting things done in this town in the past, and it was with a can-do attitude. It was with a can-do attitude, and we've heard a lot about financial challenges tonight, but it's not all about money. It's not all about money. And we have seen a number of instances where the government has taken and poured millions of dollars into projects here in Hay River, and it hasn't worked because there just was the wrong approach, the wrong attitude. So we do need to think outside the box to find solutions. I still think that Hay River is an excellent place to start a business, raise a family, and to create a financial opportunity for yourselves and for your families. So I want to say thank you for all those who have supported me in the past, and I hope that you'll do so again on Monday.
Brian, 2 minutes.
Thank you. I guess I'm going to try to finish off on a positive note, and I'm happy to see that Jeff brought up the residential development grants policy, something that we didn't get a chance to talk about tonight, which is unfortunate, because this is a game changer. I mean, the town was able to secure $2 million from the federal government to go into this policy. And the policy aims to help address the core housing needs of Hay River in accordance with the Hay River Strategic Housing Plan. Funding up to $35,000 for new residential dwelling units, $35,000 for retrofit construction resulting in incremental multi-family dwelling units, and $20,000 for new living secondary garage or garden suites may be provided. The town takes a phased approach to rolling out this policy, commencing with an expression of interest for applications for multifamily residential housing grants to be initiated in October 2024. With a closing date of early 2025. And as I said, the town has secured $2 million through CMHC's Housing Accelerator Fund to fund this policy. So that's a good news story. We had a presentation from Pine Point Mines last week, I believe, on the viability of the Pine Point mines going through. Now, I'm not one that, takes a lot of encouragement from mining companies, but I could say that at this point, we're probably as close as we have ever been to see Pine Point mines come back. That is a good news story, and that will pump new life into this community. There are some challenges ahead for sure. We need to get the federal government on side to look at the power from Tolson to make sure that it's secured for that location. We need our railroad. All these things are tied together, but there is positivity on the horizon. And so with that, I would ask for your vote next Monday. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brian. Karina?
Oh, it's hard to follow that. I wanted to take this opportunity to recognize our community. It has encountered numerous challenges. Everybody's spoken of them over the last couple of years. However, we have demonstrated resilience and approached these difficulties with courage and determination, ultimately emerging stronger. And that's Hay River, that's my home, and I'm glad of it. I address you not only as a candidate, but someone who is genuinely committed to our community and here to listen and understand. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Tom?
Okay, thank you. I guess I'll finish what I was trying to say when I opening statement because I didn't get a chance to finish. Thanks, Myrtle. And that is that problems are complicated and some things are tricky. And when you jump right from a problem to a solution, you may be missing what the underlying cause of the problems are. And I think it's really important for people to really dig down and see why something exists. Like, for example, why don't we have taxis in this town? And to really figure that out, to figure out a solution to the problem. So Brian mentioned the housing strategy. The housing strategy has 5 different pathways in it. And it was done by somebody or some group that spent a lot of time thinking about where this thing needs to go. And that kind of thinking is important. And I really support that kind of thinking. And I would like to be part of that sort of thing. I guess one last thing I want to say is that if I'm elected, I'd like to sit down with whoever wants to sit down with me on a monthly basis in some public place, and I can describe what's happening on council, or at least my understanding of that. Also hear issues from people, and so I'd like to do that on a monthly basis, kind of a face-to-face thing. And I think that's it. So thanks for coming out tonight, and hope you vote for the people you want. Thank you.
Thank you. I arrived in the North in 1999, and I transferred from Norman Wells to Hay River in 2004. And I've lived here for the past 20 years. I am a Northerner by choice. I have chosen this place to be my home. I choose Hay River to raise my family. I really just love Hay River, the people here, even Councillor Bouchard. I just want Hay River to be the best place it can be. We've sat beside each other in council for the last 3 years. You take that. As a child, my dad modeled a life of service to his community by getting involved in municipal politics as mayor for many terms. He serves even today on many committees, and he has instilled in me that everyone should give back to their community. I am following in my father's footsteps and giving back to my community. When you vote for me, you now know my values and what I stand for, and I will work hard to promote our little diamond in the rough. Thank you, and vote for me Monday night.
Robert, you have 2 minutes.
Yeah, thank you. No, I just didn't have prepared remarks at the closing, but I think I want to commit to continuing to work and be involved in the finance committee stuff, the finances, taxation stuff, obviously economic development, where, I think there's some opportunities that are happening here in the community. We see the Métis and Arcan building houses in town. We see West Point wants to build more houses in their area. We even on the KFN reserve, I went there a week ago, and they've got some new buildings there, and that area is looking better. It was due to a fire, but out of the ashes come some of the most successful things. So my commitment is to continue to work, and I might have the most years here, and maybe I should be one of those guys taking a break, but I'm still involved, and I'm engaged with on a daily basis of stuff, whether it's in the grocery store or whether I'm talking to the mayor. So please vote for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Keith?
Thank you. And yeah, I just want to say a quick thank you to the Senior Society for hosting this evening, and Sandra for all your work behind the scenes, and Sandra and Myrtle for moderating tonight. I want to thank everyone at the table and those that are away for putting their names forward. I know it's not an easy thing to put yourself out there to the community, and it is an important job, and it is an important part of our community and the future of our community. So thank you all. I was born here. I was raised here. My family's been here for a lot of years, and I plan on being here for a lot of years again myself, and carrying on that tradition. We've heard a lot about the problems tonight. We've heard of some of the positive things that we have going forward. We're working on an MOU with Pine Point Mines, and we're fighting that fight with CN. And I think with my experience on council over the last 12 years, I think I still have the passion for it. I know I still have the passion for it, and I think with my experience that I could continue to be a positive force on council. So if you haven't voted yet, please do so on Monday. And if you're going to do so on Monday, please vote for me.
Thank you, Keith. And to round up the evening, Kim, you get the final say. Except for the two girls that wrote one.
Well, behold my master plan to have the last word. From the front. I'd like to thank everybody that came out. Obviously, I'd be a new counselor. I'm not exactly unknown in this town. I could promise you and would promise you that I never would, just for the comfort, give anyone any false promises or expectations that I could never deliver on. I would not, before I understand every piece of a problem, take action that might not be in our best interest. Once I do understand a problem and there's a consensus, make no mistake, I'm an action guy. I would act. I hope that I'm the man you would want to see on town council as a councillor, and I respectfully ask for your vote on the 21st. And that's going to cut her short for the last word. Thank you.
Thank you for everyone here. I'd like to read Rena and Linda's closing statements, which are both very short. This is from Rena. I feel like this community has given me so much in the last 25 years I've lived here. Now I want to give back. And I believe the most effective way to do that is for me to be on town council. I believe that my education, business experience, and passion to empower our community make me an ideal candidate for town council. Mazicho. That's from Rena. And just a sec, I'll give you Linda's. Closing remarks. Serving on council is an honor and a privilege, but also a responsibility that I do not take lightly. I feel the next term may be one of the most important. Hay River is at a crucial point in the life of the town. We are facing a barrage from all sides: social pressures, economic hardship, lack of growth, loss of services. Our next council needs to be dedicated and diverse group of good people who can work together to keep Hay River alive and healthy. Our very future depends on it. I would consider myself honored to have the opportunity to serve another term. Respectfully submitted, Linda. Okay. We did it in 1 hour and 28 minutes, people. That's exactly the way it was supposed to be. Thank you very much.